I don't know exactly when I decided that my 2006 Toyota Tundra needed to become a camper, but at some point I looked at this truck and I thought, yeah, I can definitely build something better than sleeping crooked in the bed. And that's how this whole project started. No fancy shop, no professional fabrication team, no sponsored parts, just a Tundra, some metal, few tools, my dad, my brother, and the kind of confidence that usually shows up right before you make a big mistake. The goal was simple: build a DIY camper setup for the truck that I could actually use for camping, off-roading, and weekend trips. Something solid, something functional, something that looked good enough from about 10 feet away. At the start, everything feels easy because nothing's gone wrong yet. You're standing there looking at raw material, imagining the final product, telling yourself, this is going to be clean and it's going to be quick. We're going to knock this out fast. That's always a lie. The first part of the build was figuring out the frame and cutting everything down to size. This is where the project goes from cool idea to, oh, we actually have to measure things. And measuring is where the trust issues begin. Because when you're building something for a truck bed, nothing feels perfectly square. You measure once, it looks good, you measure again, and suddenly the truck is gaslighting you. One side says yes, the other side says absolutely not. But eventually we started cutting metal and getting the pieces ready. And this is the part where it starts to feel real. There's something about sparks flying and metal hitting the ground that makes you feel like you know what you're doing, even if you're still mentally praying everything lines up later. My dad was a big part of this build, so was my brother, which made it way better. There's a different kind of pressure when your dad is there helping. You want to act like you have a plan, you want to look confident, but deep down you're still doing the math in your head like, if this piece is off by half an inch, can I just pretend it was supposed to be like that? And the answer is usually yes. And that's the beauty of DIY. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, you modify it. If modifying it doesn't work, you hit it with something. And if that doesn't work, you call it custom. Once we had the pieces cut, it was time to start welding. Now, welding always looks way cooler on video than it feels in real life. On camera, it sparks, smokes, and dramatic garage energy. In real life, it's a lot of repositioning, checking angles, burning yourself a little, and hoping the weld looks better after paint. But this is also where the build starts to come together. Piece by piece, the frame began to actually look like something, not just a random piece of metal anymore, not just a pile of maybe. It started to look like a camper setup. And that's the dangerous part of any project. Once it starts looking good, you get excited. Once you get excited, you start moving fast. Once you start moving fast, that's usually when projects remind you to calm down. There were definitely moments where things didn't line up perfectly, but eventually we kept pushing through, cut, test fit, adjust, weld, grind, repeat. That was basically the rhythm of the whole build. And I know this is not the clean professional YouTube garage where everything's organized, labeled, and color matched. This is real life. The tools are everywhere. You lose the thing you had just had in your hand. You spend 20 minutes looking for a marker, but honestly, that's what made this build fun. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't polished, it was just us figuring it out.
Cutting into the cap
Was the part I was most excited for because that's when you finally get to see if the idea in your head actually works in real life, and that's always a little scary. This is when I could finally picture using it out in the real world. Pulling up to a campsite, sleeping in the back, having gear organized, taking the Tundra out somewhere and not feeling like I just threw a bunch of stuff in the bed and hope for the best. That was the point of this whole thing. I didn't build this because I needed the most expensive camper setup. I didn't build it because I was trying to copy some overland rig with 12 light bars and a rooftop tent that cost more than my truck. I built it because I wanted something that worked for me. Something simple, something strong, something I could say I made with my own hands. And more importantly, something I got to build with my dad and my brother. That's probably the part I'll remember the most. Not the measurements, not the cuts, not the welds, not the paint. It's the time spent working on it together. Laughing when something didn't work, getting annoyed when something really didn't work, and figuring it out anyways. That's the part that makes a DIY build worth it. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I got a camper setup out of it, but I also got the memories that came with building it. And to me, that makes it way cooler than just buying something online and bolting it on. Now, is it perfect? No. Would a professional fabricator find things to criticize? Absolutely. Would I still proudly take it camping and act like it's the best camper build on YouTube? Also yes, because that's the DIY rule. If you made it, you're allowed to be a little delusional about it. This build gave the truck a whole new purpose. Now I'm already thinking about what comes next. Storage, lighting, sleeping setup, maybe a better way to organize gear. Maybe some upgrades I probably don't need, but we'll definitely try to justify later. That's how these projects go. You finish one thing and immediately create 5 more things to work on. But for now, I'm happy with it. This DIY camper build started as a random idea, turned into a lot of cutting, welding, painting, and second guessing, and somehow ended with something I'm actually proud of. So if you're watching this and thinking about building something for your own truck, I'm not going to pretend this is a tutorial. This is more of a warning. It will take longer than you think. You'll probably mess something up. You will make at least one trip to the store that you did not plan for, and you will question your decisions. But when it finally comes together, it's worth it. And if you can build it with someone you care about, even better. Because the camper is cool, but the story behind it is what makes it yours. So that's the DIY camper build on my 2006 Toyota Tundra. Not perfect, not professional, but built by us, made for the kind of trips I actually want to take, and ready for whatever adventure comes next. And honestly, that's good enough for me. Thank you guys for watching, and shout out to my brother and my dad for all the work and the help. Thank you guys. To the next one. Peace.